What's going on, Bucs fans? We are live here, back on another edition of the Pirate Parlay podcast here on the Sick Podcast Network. As always, I'm your host, Jason Allen. And where to start, what to talk about, what's going wrong, what's going right? Is anything going right? Bucs drop a tough one, and now they put themselves in a real predicament, a real hole here going forward with playoffs potentially on the line in a big game on Thursday night. We'll get into that, break it down. What happened to the Saints? People are coming back from injuries. People are coming back from years ago. We'll get into all of that and more with our special guests right after the break. You know me.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Pirate Parlay.
Battle intercepted, picked off in the end zone. Bucs are going to beat the Chiefs. We're the champions of the world.
The sickest Tampa Bay Buccaneers podcast. It's going to be sick.
Welcome back to the other side here on the Pirate Parlay podcast on the Sick Podcast Network. As always, I'm your host, JC Allen. I ask you to like, subscribe, turn notifications. If you're watching from Twitter, come on YouTube, like, subscribe, turn notifications. Do me a solid like my man Tobias Stark from Bucs Germany. We got Bucs Germany in the house this week. They're doing a back-to-back. They did the Saints game, which we'll get into in a minute, and they're doing the Thursday creamsicle game against the Falcons here. Tobias Stark, my guy. He reposted the stream on X, so if you feel inclined to do that, always appreciate that, and definitely put your comments in here. We'll react to them. We'll talk to them. We'll get it going. So appreciate all of you. And, of course, my people who don't want to see my face. I don't know why. It's a handsome mug. But who just want to listen to my beautiful voice. Everyone listening to audio versions after that on podcasts, wherever you get it from. Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get our special guest in here. He is from Tampa Bay 28. You guys know him as Kyle Berger. I call him the Burgermeister. Perfect time of the year to call him the Burgermeister with Christmas right around the corner. But he is nothing like the Burgermeister from the year that Santa Claus is coming to town. He brings joy and happiness to others when he reports on your favorite Tampa Bay sports and beyond sports teams. Kyle, how are we doing today?
I am doing well. Speaking of Christmas, I got a whole bunch of Christmas presents wrapped up over here in the corner. I gotta go up to Georgia and give them to my nieces and nephews. So
nice.
my Christmas break is next week.
I'm there with you, except my kids are off too. So it's not a break. And do we ever stop when the Bucs are playing? I don't think so.
No, we don't. It's a good thing. Keep the season going as long as possible. It makes our jobs more fun.
And we've had that opportunity since 2020 when Brady came, although it was in a different capacity those first 2 years with COVID and trying to navigate that. But it feels like things are on the brink of maybe not getting that opportunity this year, Kyle, with the way the Bucs have been playing as of late. You know, you start off the season hot, you go into the bye week, you're feeling good about yourself. And I mean, since the bye, they've lost a lot of games here. They're 2-5 since starting off 5-1 on the season, and things are starting to go downhill. This Saints game, and of course, weather was an issue, but weather was an issue for both teams. Kind of really went off the rails, and up in the press box, you could hear the murmurs of us, and they're like, "Oh, this is a game they could lose." What's just your reaction to the Bucs dropping a game that they should have won? Even though the Saints were coming in trying to do exactly what they did and mess up their playoff hopes and dreams and stop them from winning the NFC South again. What were your reactions to that game? What went wrong in your opinion?
Well, just watching the game play out, Tyler Shuck, like him being able to scramble the way he did was really shocking to me. I remember a long third down play. They dump it off to Devin Neal. Levante David misses a tackle. First down, keeps that drive alive. I think Shuck scored on a couple of plays later, but just the lack of execution, the missed tackles is what really caught my eye on defense anyway. And when the defense hasn't been the same since they played the Saints back in week 8. Since that bye week, they've been giving up just tons of points, like 28 points per game since the bye week. Defense has been the issue the whole time since the bye week. But that game, I just don't understand how the Bucs could not get anything going on offense either. I mean, we mentioned the weather was a factor, but Tyler Shuck played in the same conditions as Baker Mayfield did. Right. It's like when Baker doesn't get that first read, that's when he gets in like panic mode and scrambles and tries to do the Superman play, which worked when he was back in the MVP conversation. But It hasn't been working the last several weeks.
I know, and like the crazy thing is, you brought it up, and I like to go there. After that Saints game, the first one, we are like, "Oh, this defense is the best. This is the top five defense for sure." They hold them to 3 points, right?
Yeah, the Anthony Nelson game.
He goes off,
pick six. Yeah.
And everyone's like, wow, this defense is really legit. Like, let's see what happens coming out of the bye. They're going to get some players back on offense. Hopefully Chris is back. Hopefully Bucky's back. And then, like, the offense will match what the defense is doing. And it seems like, I wouldn't say it's done a flip because the offense hasn't really been great either. But now the defense is dropping down. And, obviously you go online and you see all the fire Grizzard and you see all the fire bowls and get them out of here. But when you were just talking about the Bucs defense and their struggles, you were talking about missed tackles and missed run fits and execution level stuff from the players on defense. And I feel like that's the same thing when you talked about on offense. Baker's looking for his first read, and there's plays you watch the tape back. He's got guys like Tez wide open on the other side, and he's just not being able to get to his second read. Guys are dropping passes. I don't hold Emeka. I'm not burning him at the stake like everybody else is, but it's not just him who's dropping passes. You got Cade and Sterling Shepard and guys dropping passes, and then the line. And again, injuries have played a huge part in all of this, but the line isn't giving Baker time, so he doesn't feel like he can get to that first and second read. And when that might be the play that's going to hit, and we've seen it on tape. You watch it back, it's there. He just doesn't trust it. So, as much as people want to point the fingers at the coaches, and I do think they should be pointing the fingers at the coaches, but I don't think they should be pointing them as harshly as the players. I feel like this has been mostly an execution thing where the guys are missing assignments, reading the wrong thing and getting out of the wrong spot, or just not doing their job. I feel like a large onus needs to go on the players, starting with your quarterback, Baker Mayfield, who helms the whole thing, but along the whole group of them.
No, I agree. Like, you see all the message boards of fire bowls. And it also doesn't help when you see Liam Cohen and Dave Canales doing so well right now, and then the Bucs ship is sinking. Like, fans were wanting the Bucs to hire Liam Cohen as head coach and put Todd Bowles somewhere else. And then you see what Jacksonville is, 9-4, 9-5 right now, and
9-4,
yeah, in first place. So that doesn't help Todd Bowles' case either. But Mayfield has not looked the same. I mean, from last season, I think his completion percentage is down 10% from 71 to 61. He doesn't help the O-line, banged up. Bredesen is now put on IR, so it's another missing piece. Barton's been moving around. Wirfs was out. If they don't get Evans, McMillan, and Wirfs back for this game, this is a must-win game. You lose to the Falcons, and I think it's done because
there's no destiny left.
Carolina's taking on New Orleans. So, I mean, you need these guys back. Mayfield, again, he started the year super hot. 13 touchdown passes, only 2 picks. Since week 7, the Detroit game, 7 touchdowns, 4 picks. So he's doubling his interceptions. Again, was it the injury that's hampered him, the AC joint? I mean, he's took a bunch of hits in the Texans game. We thought he was out for the year, and he pops back up, starts talking trash.
Kyle, it's all just feel like it's compounded, right? Is it all those things, or is it the offensive line injuries? Or is it Bucky Irving being out for a good amount of time? Is it Chris Godwin being out? Mike Evans being out? And now Emeka Egbuka, a rookie who's already learned playing all 3 wide receiver positions. Now you're asking him to do what Mike Evans does and separate against solo competition and take double teams over the top. So there's so much compounded into this issue here, but Baker's got to play better. The last 2 games, I think it's like 4 for 25 or 27 on air yards, completions past 10 yards. Like, he's not getting the ball down the field. It just feels really stagnant. And you hope is when Mike comes back, right, is that, okay, now they're going to focus Mike, because at the very end of the day, it's Mike, and you can't leave him one-on-one because Baker is on social media known. If you one-on-one Mike, I'm going to throw it to him. So maybe that starts to open up things and makes Abuka's life a little bit easier. And, he doesn't have to worry about he can play more of his game. But those separation concerns have been there since before the draft with him. He's never an all-world separator. He relies on his savviness like Chris Godwin does. And maybe that will allow him to get more. So that's the hope. But is it too little too late? Does getting healthy even matter now?
Yeah, it does, because we've seen this before. I mean, the last 2 years, the Bucs start hot, get in this huge rut, and then they bounce back at the end. This is something that's It's happened. The roller coaster ride we've seen in the last 2 years, and they still win the division, make the playoffs. So yeah, I think it matters that you get these guys healthy. You're taking the pressure off Emeka Egbuka when you get Evans back out there. He was drafted to be the 3 or the 4 on this team, and he's been thrust into that number 1 role, which for a rookie, I mean, can't take anything away from Emeka Egbuka. He's played fantastic, but it seems like he's hit that rookie wall.
Yeah.
He's dropping 6 to 10 passes this year. I don't know the official number on that, but seems like he's dropping a lot more long term. I'm not worried about Emeka Egbuka. It's just that again, does the rookie wall mean you miss a wide open touchdown in the end zone?
Could have been thrown a little bit better, but still,
thrown better. Yes, yeah. Maybe that's the weather issue right there. But the timing of his drops is pretty bad right now.
Yeah. Kyle, the only thing that I know, like, and everyone watching knows, I had them winning the Super Bowl. And, I'm Mr. Positive, and I don't want to come off as Mr. Doom and Gloom, but I just feel like, it's time to like kind of let reality sink in. And last week didn't look like last year. I felt like last week looked more hapless. Never at any point last year where I was like, that was just embarrassing the way they lost. Like, you could see the tough losses, you could see the bad losses, but like this, it felt different, and it felt different than last year, and it felt more so that I don't have much confidence in this team going into Thursday night.
Yeah, I don't have confidence in the defense at all going into Thursday night. Kirk Cousins come to town, 8 touchdown passes last year. Yeah, there's no reason to have confidence in this defense. I mean, they have good players. Antoine Winfield. I mean, Levante David's obviously not the same as he used to be, but
can't run anymore.
No, he can't. So I don't. Gosh, I mean, Bijan Robinson coming out of the backfield catching passes. I don't know.
Tyler Algier. I mean, he's a weapon himself. It's going to be tough, and I agree. I think the defense has their work come out of them, but luckily for the Bucs defense, they added some juice to the team. Mm-hmm. With, as my friend Tobias Stark says, "You down with JPP?" Jason Pierre-Paul back for the Bucs on the practice squad. Kyle, what are your thoughts on this? Because is this just for a player? Or is this just for his on-field, a player on-field? Does this feel like something more? Does it feel like they're reaching for something?
This is a complete desperation move. I mean, that just tells you how poor the front office thinks this defensive front is, and putting pressure on the quarterback, which they haven't done consistently all year long. I mean, JPP hasn't played a snap in the NFL in 2023. Even that season, he played 3 games. So I don't know. It has to be juice. That's the only the locker room guy. His knowledge of what he sees as a coach on the field. But he's posting workout videos. I watched him on Instagram today. I interviewed JPP today. I asked him what he thinks he brings to this roster, and he says, "I might have it. I might not. We'll see." I'm like, okay, that doesn't give me much confidence, but the players, you see him walk in there. He has the Super Bowl rings. He has just this passion for the game, and that's something. The intangibles, I guess, that's really what he's going to be bringing to this roster.
My question: it does feel desperate. It feels like a reach. It feels like they're looking for something that they don't have. Kyle, that's been the situation since before the bye week when Hassan Reddick went down. Why now? Why now? And you hear, Bowles talk about the juice he can bring, and you hear Baker talk about this. He can bring some juice, and Larry Foote brings some juice, and you just mentioned a Super Bowl ring. He's got a Super Bowl ring, but so does Levante, and so does Vita Vea, and Antoine, and Tristan, and Mike, and Chris, and like there are guys who have Super Bowl rings. Like what does it say about the locker room and this team as a whole that in Week 15? They need to bring someone in to give this locker room and this edge rushing room.
Well, they're saying all the right things after the loss, that the locker room is, tight together. But after the game, Levante David stormed out before we even had a chance to get into the locker room. Yeah. So there could be some issues. I mean, obviously you're not happy losing to a 2-win team, but
the Saints. Here, Cam Jordan talk all that crap.
But there's got to be. You want to think they're together. I mean, Zion McCollum said they're together. and I mean, I don't know. It's just got to be what he sees or his knowledge he can pass along to guys like Yaya Diaby. Hassan
Right.
Reddick has been a complete bust. 1.5 sacks, and he's paid all this money.
4
He hasn't
tackles for
gotten it done.
loss
Yeah, and Braswell finally got his first sack
of the year.
season.
Yeah. Bust. Didn't like that pick at the time.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they didn't do anything at the trade deadline to really address this.
There are guys available too.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
there are guys before. Odafe Owea, the guy from the Ravens, went to the. There was options available. This is just Light, unless Light knew, unless he had an inkling about this feeling, is I'm not going to put resources into this. It's too banged up.
That's what I was going to say next. Yeah, maybe he knew that this was like, you can't fix the situation. I'm not going to dump the future away on something that's for a 1-year rental or anything like that. That's my only thought.
The hard part for him too is this looked like the year, like I had them winning the Super Bowl in my prediction. It's published out there.
I think I had them for 11 wins. Is what I had
them at 12. Like this looked like the year with the roster assembled, with everybody healthy. The problem is healthy hasn't been it, and that falls on Jason too. We're not attacking the linebacker position, relying on Levante David, who already had lost a step the previous 2 seasons. And I love Levante David, and he, I'm not a Bucs fan, but I respect the hell out of Levante David and everything he's done and stand for. This is his last season. Enjoyed these last 4 games because I highly doubt he comes back next year. He told,
this was a team and a roster built to outscore other teams, and when you're losing your key offensive pieces. Our predictions look good when everyone's healthy because we expect them to put up points.
Right.
And you lose Mike and Bucky and Jalen that early.
And I think I get you can't add depth to every position, right? They made it a point for cornerback and wide receiver. We're not going to be out cornerback and wide receiver. That's we're going to have people there. But linebacker, I think, was a clear omission that they should have addressed. And I think edge rusher before the 4th round, even though they tried to do so with Hassan Reddick, there are opportunities and avenues for them to get a guy who wasn't a bounce back candidate or wasn't a small school player that they're hoping will show out in the NFL, with that competition jumping. For all intents and purposes, David Walker looked really good in shorts and t-shirts. We never got to see him in pads, but I think
a 4th round pick, David Walker.
You're relying on a 4th round pick, school David Walker.
Right. And like Servassier Dennis, there's a lot of hype with him in training camp, and he hasn't lived up to that at all.
No. And there's been moments where he looks like an every down NFL player. And then there have been moments where, I try to give him the benefit of the doubt, like his first year starting. Let's see how but it just hasn't, things have gotten better, but not to the point where it needs to be, especially when you have someone like Levante sees the play. He knows where it's going. He just can't get there most of the time. And when he does get there, those big tackle for losses, that's all film study. That's all knowing that's how intuitive Levante is, but he doesn't have the speed that can make up for that. And really, Servassier Dennis doesn't either. And you've seen teams continuously attack him over the middle of the field. And I think Kyle Pitts coming up next with a big week. Those running backs out the backfield, we all saw what happened week 1 with Servassier Dennis on Bijan Robinson. It feels like it's a lot to overcome. But, this whole week, the guys have been saying we control our own destiny. We control our own destiny. We control our own destiny. We got some juice. Like, what's your confidence level going into this game? Do you buy in? Obviously, they know they control their own destiny, but do you buy in that it's going to matter whether they buy it or not, whether they have the juice or is that going to matter coming into Thursday's game?
I still think the Bucs are going to win this game. I think the Falcons are bad. The Saints are bad, but I think this game coming at this time is perfect for the Bucs. Take all that anger, all that bad energy out that he had with the Saints. Go blow the doors off the Falcons, but then you got the Dolphins coming up next, who is a team that's pretty hot right now. So it's another game that's going to be tough. But I don't have, like I said, I don't have confidence in defense. I think the Falcons will be able to put up some points, but Mike Evans and Jalen McMillan, Tristan Wirfs back. I think the Bucs could be right there with them.
Yeah, that's the hope, that you got all these guys back and that it starts to look like what you want it to look like. And I asked Grizzard that last week. I think it was last week. It was like, you had all these guys and then you didn't. Like, how difficult has it been to overcome? And, of course, we trust our guys and the next man up. We know anyone, our coaches and everyone will be ready to go when their number is called. But really, like, it has an effect on the play caller. I see Bat says Grizz is not a good play caller. And I will say that there has been issues, and there has been times where, like, what do you like? You saw that didn't work last time. Why are we doing it again? But I don't think there's been any Dave Canales level of, like, what are we doing here? Like, maybe the fourth down calls, but at the end of the day, like, you've got to get a yard. And that's not just this year, Kyle. How long have we been talking about, like, the Bucs can't get a yard? It's been going on since Byron was here. Like, it's crazy.
I didn't have a problem with Bowles going for it on those situations. Like, he went for 7 fourth downs and got 2 of them. No problem with that. Like, getting 1 yard, you have to be able to get 1 yard. If you can't do that, I mean, you don't deserve to win the game. And mentioning for this upcoming game, for if Mike Evans returns, I don't expect him to play obviously a full workload. I think he'd be great in the red zone packages for Baker, because that's kind of what they've been lacking lately.
Sterling Shepard, fade routes to Sterling.
That's where I can see Mayfield and Evans really helping out this offense on Thursdays. Red zone packages is just, he's not gonna get the full workload. Chris Godwin was working very slowly. He's finally seems like he's getting up to speed. But Evans, give him those red zone packages, let him just throw the touchdown passes. That's been a struggle, it seems, lately for Mayfield.
Yeah, and they have a guy like Payne Durham who's 6'7" and was a red zone monster in college, and it's just, there is some things like, why aren't we utilizing these other guys that we have here? And if trust is an issue, then, like, I'd like to see Devin Culp on the field. I know he's probably not good, but at least isn't a distraction. Like we're talking about a guy who you can't really just put a linebacker on unless you have a really fast linebacker, because he runs a 4.6 40. And he's a little bit big, for a safety to go up against. So, like, it's a mismatch there. And if that creates a mismatch and you have to drop a safety on him now instead of a linebacker because of that speed, then maybe that frees up Egbuka, or maybe that frees up Evans once he's back. So,
speaking of like Culp and like a tight end, has Cade Otton kind of slowed down to you? I mean, he's not. Last year he was so good whenever a receiver was out. I mean, you can. Yeah. He was 10 catches a game, 8 catches, and it seems like he doesn't have the handles anymore.
Yeah, it's time to wear gloves, bro. I said that a couple of podcasts ago when he had that game. But I don't know. It's a contract year for him. The projections were pretty high, $11 and $12 million a year. Wow. The Bucs really value what they have him for, and I know they've utilized him a lot more as an inline blocker because of the injuries. And again, this week, but this week was a lot of Payne Durham on his side, because I watched that left side at the game pretty much for the first half, kind of ignoring a lot of the other stuff, because I really was focusing on Chukwuma. And they had Payne Durham over there a lot. Otton wasn't double teaming Granderson that much. So I don't know what's going on there and what the regression is. This is a variation of that McVay offense, and they don't use tight ends a lot in there. So, tight end wasn't going to be used a whole bunch under Grizzard. He was used out of necessity really last year, but he's got to step up and make the plays when his number is called, especially, he had that, you got to, and part of that was on Baker for the low flow, the behind throw, but you've got to churn those legs and power back for that extra half a yard and get that first down, man. Like, I don't know. It's just nobody's stepping up. That's the problem.
You said you had the Bucs winning 12 games this year. So reevaluating, where do you have them now?
I'm struggling with the playoff bid, to be honest with you. This Carolina team is good, and Dave knows how to piss off Baker Mayfield in the pocket. Better than a lot of people. Like, Dave is really good at getting you to open up and, like, share, like, good, like sensitive stuff. So, like, anything that him and Baker talked about, he's definitely going to go back to it and try to use it. And remember, this is a Panthers team that was much worse last year than they are this year, and they took the Bucs to overtime. And if it wasn't for a fluke play caused by none other than Anthony Nelson, like, they would have lost that game and probably would have been out of the playoffs last year. So, like, this, you can't overlook the Falcons or the Panthers. But like you have to know, like there is no mistakes available. You cannot go. This is another thing, Kyle. 3 and 13 on third down, and 2 of 7 on fourth. We touched on, but this third down offense has been atrocious all year. They're number 1 third down offense in the league. Last I looked, they were actually. I've got the rankings pulled up right now. I'll tell you where they're at.
Yeah,
But
were they were number 1 last year? I know they were really good on third down last year.
number 1 last year in the league. This year, they now have dropped to 19 on third down. So just not
Got to
good.
keep the chains moving.
And red zone's even worse. They were 3rd ranked red zone last year. This year, they're 25th. They're only scoring touchdowns half the time they get to the red zone, which is just not good. It's just offense settling for field goals and not being able to push the ball down the field. And I think that that's the biggest thing. I think you have to be able to sustain drives. Like, great. Like, if you can do it against the next 4 weeks, that's great. But like when the playoffs come, can you do it in the playoffs? Because you haven't shown you can do it against lesser teams. Are you gonna be able to do it against the Rams? You're gonna be able to do it against the Seahawks again? Are you gonna be able to do it against the Eagles or the Packers? Like, are you gonna be able to sustain these third down when Micah Parsons is hauling ass at you? Are you gonna be able to sustain this? And they haven't shown that they can. And I think that's the biggest thing, the biggest issue with this offense going forward.
And looking back, like they beat Seattle in Seattle. Like, how incredible is that when you look back that now and see where both these teams are? Like,
right.
And they did that without Mike Evans, I think.
Yeah. Without Mike Evans, this was Godwin's first game back, and he was on a pitch count, and he didn't really do much.
Yeah, if this team does squeak into the playoffs, I mean, this could be a one and done like last year.
At that point, is it time to reconsider things?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, if this team does not make the playoffs and if they're a one and done, I think it's time to maybe reevaluate things.
The problem is you had the guy last year and you let him out the building.
So who are you going to get this year? Like,
who are you going to get this year? Yeah. And how do you pose that? Because you just signed Todd to a lucrative contract extension in August or June, whenever it was. Like, you just signed the guy. So, like, they've got
this would be 3 straight years of starting hot and then getting this terrible losing streak,
backing into the playoffs.
Yeah,
and that's what this is. I don't care if they win all 4 games. This is backing into the playoffs. In my opinion, this should be the game right here. You're locking up the South. Like, this should have been the game. Week 15, you've locked up the South. Now you've got to win the next 2, at the very least.
Yeah.
So and hope that you get some luck with the Saints losing one of these next 2 games too. I mean, with the Panthers losing this week, I mean, it's becomes extremely difficult to navigate if you lose this game.
I don't know if they can beat. I don't know if the Bucs could sweep them. I mean, maybe split.
Which
with Panthers
brings even more drama because that overtime last year was in Carolina, and they play Carolina after the Falcons. Yeah. So if they do beat the Falcons, drop this game to the Panthers, whatever happens against Miami, it all comes down.
Falcons, Panthers,
Miami,
Dolphins, Panthers, and
it all comes down at home against the Panthers.
God, drama.
It's going to be interesting. I'm not woe is me yet. I think they are on the brink. I think they still have an opportunity back in the playoffs. I know it's so tough because they are just not playing like they need to be or like they should be. And I think that's the biggest issue that we have that they're having. Like, if they can figure out these third down issues, if they can figure out what's holding Baker Mayfield back from completing passes 10 yards or more. But it's a short week to figure all this stuff out on. And that makes me really precarious looking at the Bucs winning this matchup. So I know it's early and we still have 2 days left and we still didn't really get a practice yet at all, but what are your thoughts on this game? Do you have the Buccaneers on this game? What are your thoughts for the rest of the season? Let's wrap this up by kind of giving me your predictions for.
Yeah, I like the Bucs. Like, I'll be the confident guy. I like the Bucs. If they get these guys back, Mike Evans is back and Tristan Wirfs at least for this Thursday. I like the Bucs this game, and I like the Bucs against the Dolphins. I'm looking at a split against the Panthers. I mean, Panthers, they're looking good, especially that Rams game. Now they're coming off a bye week. Dave Canales has had a chance to reevaluate his team a little bit. That late bye week, it's helping them right now.
Yeah.
But I still like the Bucs to back in. I mean, not losing hope yet. I'm the Mike Evans coming back is giving me a little confidence, and of course JPP, give us the juice.
Give us the juice, JPP. Yeah. I don't have the Buccaneers winning this game. I don't think. I just think the combination of Kirk Cousins, that defense hasn't been great, but man, Raheem Morris is going to know how to get after Baker, especially with some of the guys.
You don't have them winning this game. That means you don't have them in the playoffs.
I don't know. They'd have to.
If you lose this game, I think it's over. I mean,
you're
if
done.
You lose this, you're done. You're win out.
I don't know if I just don't feel confident. I don't feel confident. And yeah, Bat W446 says Cousins will feast in the middle of the field. Like, yeah. I don't have confidence that the team that I saw on Sunday, where I wish I left with half the fans at halftime, can beat anybody, man.
I don't know if Drake London's even coming back for this game.
He's not.
He's so questionable.
He's not.
So you get Mooney and Pitts.
And Mooney has been banged up all year too. Like, I don't know if enough of what I saw good from Sunday gives me enough to feel optimistic about Thursday. And I think that's what makes me, if I'm a Bucs fan, incredibly nervous. But that's what makes it hard to have confidence in this. Like, what was that?
It's also a creamsicle game. So it's
in a primetime game. It's a Kirk Cousins creamsicle primetime game. For essentially the playoffs.
Yeah. Wow. It's not good.
Not great, Bob. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm not ready to give a score prediction. It'll be published over at Bucs Game Day later this week. I'm sure Kyle will have something coming up later too, as we get closer to the game, and obviously all of his amazing pieces. But go ahead, promote yourself. Where can everybody find your awesome work?
Well, I am at
up next.
Tampa Bay 28, your ABC station. You can find me on Twitter at Kyle_Berger, Facebook, Instagram, Kyle Berger TV.
Yeah. Hawkster just says 3 negatives make a positive ? It's nice out today. I don't know. All right. Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate you so much, man. We'll definitely do this again. It's been way too long.
Not a problem. See you, JC.
Yeah. I don't know. 3 negatives make a positive. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Tell me real quick in the comments before we sign off. Like, give me a yes or no. Do you think the Bucs win this game? Give me a double yes or no. Do they make the playoffs? Is it yes, no, no, yes, no, no? Like, what are your thoughts? Shoot them in the comments before we sign off here, because you guys know me. I'm a positive person by nature. People like to call me a homer until they find out I'm not a fan. I don't know if what I saw. If it's a team from earlier in the season, I think they can do it. Man, guys, like, that was embarrassing. It was not Buccaneer football. That's for sure what it wasn't. And maybe that's JPP, right? Let's get him back in here and play Buccaneer football. Let's stop the run. Let's, get our like, what is the fix? And are they just not responding to Todd anymore? And is that why you have to bring an outside voice in like that? And like, I guess some people think like, oh, JPP, he can come in here and be that guy, and someone who said it, Bantry said it. Perhaps JPP is more vocal than the others you named. I don't expect JPP to come in here and start yelling at people coming in at week 15, damn near 37-year-old and almost retired by the league if the Bucs weren't so desperate right now. Like, I don't think he's going to come in here. Maybe he can give him some, like, I don't. Is that enough? Like, is that all they're missing is JPP juice? Like, shit, bottle that up and give it to the rest of the league if that's what they're missing. I don't know. That sounded wrong. But it didn't seem like all they were missing was some juice in that game. It seemed like there are some fundamental issues with players and coaches at a much deeper level where maybe they're not prepared enough. Someone said they haven't had any energy since they came out of the bye. I disagree with that because they showed up and boom, first touchdown right against the Patriots right on that first opening. But the energy seems, it's like the Monstars, bro. Like, is there someone who's got the football and all their powers are in there? We can just give it back to them, because it just, that's what it feels like. Because the talent, and Sal, there's a lack of talent some places on this team, but the talent is there. The secondary is great. Like, Antoine Winfield is an all-pro. Zion McCollum is playing like crap, but he's much better than he's playing. Tyke Smith should be a Pro Bowler. Jamel Dean should be a Pro Bowler this year. I think Jacob Parrish has played really well. Like, it's the middle linebacker position is certainly hurting them, but it's been hurting them for the last 3 years. So, like, I don't even know why we're even talking about it. Nothing was changed. Why did we expect different results? We sound like we're crazy people. It's like the insane, maybe, I don't know, I'm saying insanity is what? Doing the same thing and expecting different results. So I don't know. Maybe the front office is losing their marbles. But edge rusher, they took a swing and they missed, and do I think that was a big enough swing for them, given where this roster was at? Not at all. I agree. 31 he's had a game or two, but he's been mostly, but again, is that because he's trying to cover for other people's mistakes? And it's hard to know what's going on the field, and it's hard to know. We can look at the tape and look at this and say this guy's here and that guy's there, but like, it's hard to know. And like, again, I go back to like, are they not responding to Bowles? Do they need a different voice in the room? Is it, and I'm a Bowles guy. I think Bowles has done a great job. But at some point, if you're saying we need to add some juice to our team in week 15 with the playoffs on the freaking line on a Thursday night game against the Falcons team that you hate just as much as you hate the Saints after losing to the Saints, then how, like, why? Why do you need any juice? Why do you need extra juice? So I don't know. It leaves me feeling super meh, like super meh. Like, I don't know. I'll steal Sal's on a roll. I don't know how to feel going forward about this team. If they go out on Thursday and show me something, and I mean, they need to show me something. This can't be a last-minute win. This needs to be a wake up. And they come out, they score on the first drive, hold them on the first drive. And I'm not saying you shut them out. I don't need you to shut the Falcons out. But I certainly need you to hold them to less than 20 points. And I certainly need you to score more than 24 points. And I need to see signs of life. I need to see that this team has not given up, because not that I think they've given up, but at times on Sunday, it looked like they were just getting me out of this game already. And which is crazy to say, because they were in it all the way. They were literally winning 70-4 in the halfway through the third quarter. Like, they took the lead after getting down and held the lead, and then it was all ugly. It was just all ugly, So I don't know. We'll see. I need to see. They need to show me to have my confidence restored. I don't want to say they're not going to make the playoffs yet. I do think this is going to be a very difficult job for them on Thursday to win, coming off short week. Everyone's banged up already. Are they going to get Mike and Jalen back? If they do, they got to make moves. I'm sure Connor Bazelak will be the first to go. Maybe you get rid of, I don't know, Ryan Miller, but you need him on special teams. I don't know who the next one to get the axe is. They just brought up Nick Jackson, the linebacker, because Servassier Dennis probably isn't going to play this week, wasn't at practice, and they obviously can't elevate him again because they've elevated him 3 times. So you're probably looking at Levante and Deion Jones, old men, with Nick Jackson and John Bullock as the backup linebackers. Maybe they get some play time, but if they're going to bring up Mike and Jalen, they have to release 2 people to make room for them. So Connor Bazelak is the easiest one to say goodbye to, and then maybe you cut a defensive tackle, maybe you cut a wide receiver to add 2 wide receivers. We'll see how that plays out, but yeah, no gang tackling, no swarming to the ball, all things that aren't coaching issues, guys. That's players. That's player issue. So we'll see if they can get those things corrected. The biggest thing is, starting off hot on both sides of the ball. You got to go down, you got to score, and you got to keep them from scoring. All right. Now you got that confidence, that momentum up. Now you put them into a position where they're in the wall, where they know they got to score. Now you can go out there and play your brand of defense, but I haven't been doing that. So It's hard to do that when you can't do that. So we'll see what happens on Thursday night. I appreciate everyone for tuning in, everyone listening, everyone watching the reruns, everything like that. Drop the comments on YouTube if you're watching afterwards. I always go in there, like to interact with you guys. Like, subscribe, turn notifications. If you're on Twitter, appreciate you. Come find me soon here over on the YouTube side. And that's going to do it. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Pirate Parlay Podcast here on the Sick Podcast Network. I'm JC Allen, and I'm out of here. Peace out. Later, guys.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Pirate Parlay on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.